Okay, is everyone set up?
Yep.
Ready?
Okay, shall we start on,
We can start on this side,
yeah.
just go around table.
we'll start right here.
Oh, with me, okay.
Sure.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, exactly how like the bus services will be affected. I know like when the budget proposal was first made, like we heard like nearly half of the bus routes would be slashed, and I'm still a little unclear as to whether there is any impact on the buses or if they'll be slower, if so, like by how much?
No, the budget that the board just approved, bus service, we're keeping the bus service that we have today. That's a gigantic win for our bus customers to be able to have that great service. There are always, every year we have slight tweaks to our schedule that we won mid-June. That happens every year regardless of the budget, just to kind of bring efficiencies and transfer points and things of that nature, and that information will be on the website or we can get that for you. But yeah, kind of excited that we're able to protect the bus service, which is kind of the backbone of our regional system.
Right.
Well, it's not just the bus service, it's keeping the overall service plan in place,
Right.
which is key.
Right, so the routes, it seemed like they weren't affected, but I want to clarify, like, because there were lines about like targeted cuts according to like ridership, you know, like aligning the service with the ridership, like, you know, slower headways, for example, for like the train.
Are you talking on the trains or the buses at this point? Because the first question was buses, so.
Right, asking about, you know, are there similar changes like in place for like the buses, for example, like?
No,
certain
there's no
lanes?
cuts to the buses at
cuts.
all. So everything that was in
Will
the.
it be slower though, or like any?
Only if there's more cars in front of them.
Okay.
Yeah, so, no, the bus service has, there are no impacts. The board passed a budget that all the great service we're running today, we get to maintain. On the rail side, we're really, you know, we're getting this debate more or less a service. We're doing a little bit more 6-car train sets, and we're gonna do a little less service on some holidays and select things like that to be as efficient as possible. But the big win out of here for customers is that we were able to protect really good, safe, frequent, reliable service to keep moving the region forward.
And it was important because if you look at the bus, the ridership on bus is greater than it was pre-pandemic at this point, so.
So it'll
Yep.
be pretty much the same as now in terms of.
Yeah, same,
Okay,
exact
gotcha.
same, yeah.
Just want to confirm.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Okay,
One thing, we got some new faces in the room. If you wouldn't mind just saying your name and your outlet before you ask your question.
Danny from the Washington Post.
yep, that's you again.
So about Circulator and Metro and the future of, I guess like Metro possibly absorbing some Circulator routes or rerouting some buses. So many riders asked me, you know, how WMATA is going to do all of that given the threatened or proposed bus cuts this fiscal year, but obviously you guys resolve that this fiscal year. But I mean, budget is going to be an issue for the coming years too. So, I mean, is there any reassurance you can give to riders about the sustainability or the long-term sustainability of these maybe absorbed circulator routes in the coming years?
Yeah, so Dave, I can't really give you a different quote I gave you Tuesday, right? Like, the Circulator is the DC service. And as I said to you, we're having conversations with them, but it's ultimately their decision if they are going to stop their service. We have a bus network redesign that will be going into place next year. Publicly, round 3 of public comment is going to be coming out late spring. And then, you know, ideally the board will bring it to the board for hopefully adoption sometime in the fall to get executed next year. And that might be one opportunity to do some modifications related to the Circulator. But again, that's their service. And I know people keep asking WMATA to talk about someone else's service, but it's their service. We have a network redesign going on, and if that is one avenue to solve that, so be it. I think to the longer part of the conversation you bring up is, do we have predictability forever on frequent, reliable service? And the answer is no, and I think the chair, our finance chair, and others. So we've done a great job, and we appreciate all our partners coming together this year. But we don't have a long-term line of sight on our funding because we don't have a dedicated source, and we got to be able as a region to say what we truly want as a regional transit system. So I think the leadership, the chair, Councilmember Allen are showing convening the COG group and our board on May 1st is really the next genesis to help solve that long term. So riders don't have to think next year, if I live in this apartment, will I have bus service or rail service? They'll know that we have a system long term.
Got it. And when did those conversations first start with DDOT?
I don't have a specific date for you.
Got
Yeah,
it.
yeah. You got anything to add?
No.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tom?
Okay, I had a question about the new IG. I know I've asked you the questions in the past about the previous situations. But even just last week, separate interview, separate topic to Congressman Jerry Connolly, he said how concerned he was about the IG situation at Metro. So particularly for Paul, but maybe Randy too, what assurance can you offer that she'll be given the independence to do her job without having to fear losing her job if she does something that kind of runs afoul of the board?
Well, look, Tom, as I've told you, that office has always acted independently. The board has never told them what to do, what they couldn't do, ever. They've worked collaboratively with staff to get over some of the issues that they've done. There are 2 agreements in place that we easily remedied with the current acting IG. So I think, some of the comments might be not very well informed of what's actually happening in the office. There's great collaboration going on now between that office and the internal Metro team. And we're seeing it in the reports that are coming out, the audits, knocking down caps. I mean, you're here at most of the meetings, you see the reports that are coming out. There's a level of transparency and cooperation that hasn't existed for a while. And even our acting IG has really done a great job. And Ms. Zamarin brings a lot of experience in waste, fraud, and abuse. You heard an outline of her resume today. She's had leadership roles with that. And I think she's going to be a great addition to the team, continuing to reform the office and for Randy and his team here at Metro. So we're very, very encouraged that we got someone of her level of experience, intellect, and thoughtfulness to come forward to accept this job. So it's great.
And that said, I mean, the board will have the option of renewing her contract or not in the future.
Right. Well, that's typical. I mean, that's how it's in the the charter. So,
but can you offer assurance if she finds a lot of stuff, you won't not renew her for that reason?
No. I mean, no. No. Yep.
Okay, so working around. Adam?
Are you relieved that this budget is done and behind you? I mean, it got pretty serious there for a while, right?
I mean, I think relieve's a good word to describe it. I'm also, I'm deeply thankful, but I'm also, I would use the word excited. We have a system here in the DMV that's running, I think really well. I think our customer satisfaction and returning ridership show that people believe that. I'm excited for our region and our community to continue to economically grow, to hit our climate goals, to hit equity goals, to keep growing our ridership, there's a great comeback story going on here, and I think the Metro is one of the key reasons to fuel this. So that'd be my excitement, and I'm deeply, as the chair expressed, beyond thankful for our partners. It's tough. They have their own budget challenges. We have budget challenges. Our model is so unique and challenging. But I'm really proud of what we've done as an organization. We were very transparent, very collaborative, and I think that brought enough trust and collaboration that everyone came together. And I can't say enough about the board's leadership in this. Well, it was really, really a great process, long process, challenging process, but overall, really good outcome.
Yeah, and Adam, I think we are encouraged because despite the challenges that we have over these next 2 years, the region did come together. And it was really clear in all our discussions, whether it be with the federal delegation, the governor's offices, the state elected officials, or even local officials. Everyone understands the value of Metro. And they are not going to walk away from that investment. They understand the importance of it. It shows in what they've done. They've made it one of their top commitments, for the coming year or two. But I think what's most encouraging is that in a lot of our meetings, particularly on the Virginia side that we were involved in, that they understand that we've got to solve this issue once and for all. We can't keep doing this year after year after year. So this whole idea of having a dedicated stream of funding, whatever it looks like, whether it's one regional thing or 3 different things that go into a pot, whatever it is, they understand we can't continue to do this. It is too challenging, it's too stressful on the localities and on the states who fund this, the district. So we've got to really come together. I think there's momentum to do that for sure. And a lot of the meetings we had with the legislators, they said, okay, yeah, we understand the challenges you have for the next 2 years. We're going to work with you. We're going to fix this. But they immediately skipped to the discussion of, okay, well, what are we going to do long term? We gotta come up with some solution because the model is I mean, it's just broken. It's just broken, and they intellectually, I think, finally get that now. That we just can't continue in this
Well, that's
way.
my next question. So is it a tax or is it, what should it be? If you had your way, what would you do?
Well, I think, Adam, I think the problem is everyone's jumping to that without the real issue. And the real issue is, what do we want, right? So if you go out to dinner, right, you got to figure out what you're having on the menu, and then you determine how much that costs. And if you don't have money in your wallet, you're not getting what you want, right? So I think, this initiative that we're going to kick off here with COG, Council of Governments, on May 1st, is kind of this defining moment for us as a region. It has been about 40 plus years since we as a region said we wanted a regional system. And then over time, all this other stuff has happened, but we've never done it in a kind of regional way. So the chair and Councilmember Allen, who's chairing a COG, leading this thing. I think May 1st is going to be a big deal to kick this off with a sense of urgency that we have about a year to really try to bring a report together that's not the normal, let's put a plan on the shelf that doesn't matter, an action plan. Both how do we look after the stuff we have today, both operating and capital, and all of our partners do. And then what do we want to do? We got blue, orange, and silver constraints. Farragut wasn't built correctly with the two stations not connected. There's a Georgetown conversation, there's BRT conversations, there's National Harbor conversations, there's automatic train operation, there's electrification. There's all of these things people want, and they cost money. So I want people to not worry about the money part yet. We got to agree what we want, concurrently work on the types of opportunities that both, we're not going to make that decision on the source, but then people can come to the table and say, that's something that is valuable for our region. I'm willing to get my name and involvement in that. And then you can figure out how we actually oversee the whole thing if there's a new thing that comes out of it. But I think we got to determine what we need and want here as a region that's growing and we want to thrive and be economically competitive, and then how you pay for it and not just rush to what is the pay.
Would you ever accept any private investment if it made sense?
If there's philanthropists out there, I think, Mr. Chair, that would like to come and cut us a check, feel free. We're more than, I think we'll figure out the legality to accept $1 billion check if someone's interested.
Well, and Adam, I think, it's one thing that, and we're also hearing, and we knew this was the case. People have been looking to Metro to take a lead on some things that's considered sort of low-hanging fruit, whether it be, fare integration, some sort of easy thing that you can get off VRE to get on Metro, and on a bus to get on, whatever it is. So there's that. There's also cooperation, WMATA using its size and its level of sophistication to help with purchasing or other things. So there's a lot of, what many people consider long-hanging fruit. It isn't just the financial issue. It's other issues that Metro could potentially take leadership on in the region to help make it a more seamless, transit system.
Well, if the financial issue is low-hanging fruit, then.
Well, no. I didn't say
So our
that
current,
other stuff.
Our
that other
current
stuff.
regional system, I think there's some low-hanging fruit that we could. I think our goal should be to get more human beings in our region, whether they live here, work here, or visit here, on transit, regardless of what operator they're on, and other opportunities for our operations. All of us to be more integrated, even if all of our operators stay the exact same. Is there a way to make it, more frictionless, easier to use, whether it's signs to bus stops to fares? And then the second is, what do we want the regional system to be bigger than that? Like what is BRT? Well, BRT means different things in 5 different parts of this region. Let's figure out what we want to do with BRT and really start moving more people on bus. We're going to spend all this money. Let's get people on the bus. As an example.
And we're also encouraged, Adam, the district, even though they have a draft budget, so they haven't finalized a budget yet, they do have a place marker in 26 for some sort of dedicated stream of funding for them. I don't know what that looks like, or if anyone has an idea of what that looks like necessarily, but there is a marker there in that budget.
Yep. So. Along those lines, I wanted to ask one on.
Well, Tom, let's just go down here for
and
then we'll come back.
sorry.
Yeah.
I'm so
Mine's
sorry.
like off topic if you wanted to ask a question.
No.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Alina from George Washington University. I have a question about the Better Bus Initiative. We see a lot of issues with greenwashing happening. I'm curious, you just mentioned that there's 2 buses in service. How will WMATA guarantee that the project will be seen through, and can we get an update on maybe the rollout?
You mean the conversion of the fleet?
Yes.
Yeah, so we have a board-approved goal that we're working on. The biggest challenge we probably have in the industry right now is we have a very soft vehicle manufacturing industry. There's more or less only one manufacturer that WMATA can even buy from at the moment. huge problems across our industry on demand and capacity for manufacturing. So I'm serving on, there was a task force through our industry. I was actually at the White House about a month ago with US DOT and FTA on this task force. Everyone in the industry is trying to dig in to see how we could have a more resilient manufacturing base to support all of us. But yeah, we're working on this, but we got to be eyes wide open that it takes a lot of effort. It's not about a bus, it's about the infrastructure and the entire planning and operating and model to do this. So we need people to be patient and thoughtful and understanding. And if you want to be green, the most green thing we can do is have more people on the bus, period, regardless of the type of propulsion system it has.
And also a lot of agencies, or some anyway, are just skipping electric altogether and going to hydrogen. So, well, out west in particular, because they have the hydrogen farms there or whatever they call them.
And then the other question I had was if there are plans to electrify other parts of WMATA that you can kind of talk about right now.
Well, our trains are already fully electric. Yeah, our Metro Access vehicles, there's some evaluation going on around the country on how to use maybe potentially Metro Access vehicles in a little greener mode. But again, comparatively, we are so low issues from emissions on a transit, right? We are the solution to the climate issue, not the actual genesis of it. So all of these things are like additive, but what we need is more people out of their individual cars and on transit as a region. So, okay, go.
Yeah, I had another question. So the salary and wage freeze, increase freezes, I guess I'm curious about the impact like that and also like kind of the past few months has had on like the workforce, like morale. I'm wondering if there's been any like turnover or anything you can speak to and like what maybe you're doing to address that.
Yeah, well, so let's just ground so in the budget, so non-represented employees, we just have the ability to say you're not getting an increase. So, it's not a negotiation per se. So that has happened. The board approved a budget that assumes a 0% of our labor partners, but we're working through a CBA agreement with them right now. So we'll see where that lands. We also had a hiring freeze. So we've kind of released pieces of, there's critical positions we never stopped hiring for, obviously, but other positions, as of today, we're going to loosen some more of that up. But we are now starting to see some more drop trips on the bus side, which we totally predicted would happen. We've gone now 3 months without a bus training class, which we start again next week. So, there's a little bit of impact to operations, as we were very transparent and said would happen. And this goes back to the conversation, if we don't have clarity and predictability, these kind of waves, luckily this wave will be very small comparatively. Overall morale, we're doing a lot of pulse surveys, checking in. Generally speaking, morale and pride in the organization and people wanting to work here and say they're going to work here longer. When we've done our surveys, and all anonymous surveys in the last year, those numbers keep going up. So we feel really good about kind of the cultural transformation that we're doing here at Metro, and people feel a lot of pride working here and want to actually stay and be employed here at Metro.
Are there specific areas of the workforce, like, I don't know, drivers, for instance, that you feel have been impacted disproportionately in recent months, or nothing notable?
No, not at all. Okay, we just, Dan, you got another one before you get Tom, and then we got to go.
Yeah.
You got another one? Nope. Okay, Tom.
Kind of piggybacking off what you were talking about to Adam, I know, like, for instance, Virginia, what they finally come up with looks like it'll be a 2-year commitment. So
Yeah.
seems like you're in better shape heading into next year, but where are you at heading into next year? And is the hope then that whatever this Council of Government Efforts comes up with will then help you the following year? Is that kind of the plan moving forward?
Well, look, there's still a lot of work to do to make sure that the commitment we have for that second year now stays in place. As you know, any legislative process can change overnight. So, yes, the commitment will be there, but we got to make sure that we maintain it. So,
Did DC and Maryland also commit for the following year, or is that?
No, so Maryland
Yeah.
put down a marker,
but
they don't do double, like a 2-year budget like Virginia. So they're just all a
Virginia
little
has-
different.
yeah.
But they've all indicated, because the real issue, Tom, is there's a $95 million carryover we have for this year because we managed well last year. That will not exist in the upcoming year. So you've seen this slide 15 times. We've mentioned that very transparently. That is a gap that is not included in the 3%. And so if anything, that is the big challenge for FY26. We also got to execute this budget well, right? And so I'm really proud of the team. Every single day, we're talking overtime reports, vacancy reports, fair revenue, advertising revenue. I mean, this management team, that's our job. We're focused on running the place very cost efficiently, and you've seen a lot of the changes we've made. We got to continue to do that well. We need ridership to keep coming back. We need fare evasion to keep going down, and we need keep managing our expenses really well. So we're doing everything we can to control those things. Some of those things are not under our control, obviously. But right now, I think we're feeling generally, that we're not going to go through the same kind of chaotic process for FY26, but there will be a little bit of a conversation on FY26.
We're not looking at 750 by any stretch.
No, again,
No.
yeah, the 95 is probably the most important part of that.
Yeah.
But even after that, we're still taking from preventative maintenance capital to fund the budget. That is the ultimate problem we have at Metro. We're basically stealing from Peter to pay Paul, the old analogy, from capital operating. We do not have that in multiple years coming up. So that is, that game is coming to an end in a few years. So that is the structural problem the chair mentions. That is the solve. So even if FY26, we don't have all this chaos and there's not a big story about it, then when 27 or 28 happen, we're really into it again. So we need this predictable piece. That way we can do staffing correctly, service correctly, capital correctly. All of our jurisdictional partners don't go through this exercise. Calm everything down and have a very well-run regional transit system. That's our whole goal.
And whatever call that effort comes up with, is the hope that will be in place by FY27? Is that the hope?
I'm not sure that it's so much like, I wouldn't put it there's a timeline specific. I think the key here is getting the region to agree what we all want and mechanisms to do that. And one or two parts of the region might, as the chair said, do it one way and someone else do it the other way. We might do one way for the whole region. The timing could be, good, we've all agreed we're going to do this for next year, but the big effort is a 4-year push, and here's how we're going to do it and carve it in pieces. I mean, part of honestly, the best part of this process is going to be, it's a public process with everyone together, transparently talking about stuff, and it forces really good trade-off and conversations about what we all need and want.
And Tom, I think the important piece is having all those parties together, but just continuing the momentum of what we heard during our meetings with these elected officials. We got to continue that discussion. We can't let it drop. Just
You got one more?
Yeah, just really quickly. So Metro had a policy, I don't know if it's still in place, where they can only raise fares once every 2 years. Is that still in place? Because if the fares are going to go up, can you tell riders that they won't go up next year?
We haven't changed that policy, so whatever policy document is still in effect. So again, we are not passing an FY26 budget today. We're passing an FY25 budget. So, this will be kind of that trade-off conversation. Obviously, the board and the staff, we're not excited to raise fares, but I think this fare increase is actually pretty equitable in the scheme of things. It really just gets us to make up for inflation over the last few years. And if everything else has gone up, I think there is a fairness to that. We're still keeping our low evening and weekend. Now it gets capped at $250, so it's still very affordable. Board approved a Metro Lift program for people on SNAP to get 50% discount. We obviously have our kids programs and student programs. We have a senior program, disabled program.
University
program.
Yeah.
But this will be like a good example. If we come back next year, that might have to be something that the board unfortunately has to look at again, right? So it goes back to, it's not about one thing, it's about all those things together and just having a good, healthy conversation about that.
And Adam, during our conversations, as you know, we haven't raised fares in quite some time. And we did hear from a good number of folks, like, look, this is a shared sacrifice this year. Everyone has to come to the table. So that was a message, sort of loud and clear from a lot of folks.
Yeah.
I still don't know how much it cost me to go from Dunn Loring to Metro.
Just tap your phone and keep going. Yeah. We just appreciate you hitting your fare.
That's fine.
Yeah, don't jump those gates. You'll end up with a knee brace on. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Folks, you should just receive our press release.